Is there anyone else care to express that question? Moving on. Yes, Mr. Warren.
First, let me just thank you, bless you, for people like you who are willing to take on those kinds of crisis situations. The thing that comes to my mind is you don't make a bad situation worse. And so you already have a bad situation, but trying to erase that problem by taking life is not the answer. So at some point you come down to what is the correct moral solution, and it's not trying to erase a problem. So now the next question has got to be on the front end, which is some of the things that we just talked about. I know it's obvious to everybody. The proper training, the proper encouragement of family values. But I simply wouldn't try to erase it after the fact to make a bad situation.
I sense Mr. McHenry has something to like to say.
I don't think this might get work. I have 2 daughters, and we've been blessed that never happened, that we were never confronted with that situation. One of our daughters has a son with a serious defect, genital defect. She had to make that decision. We stood beside her, defending her right to have to give birth to that baby. Because someone has to speak for the unborn. And that unborn has the same, I believe, has the same constitutional rights as you and I do.
Answer that as much as we are right now. Okay, I will draw another name. On deck, I think it's Rick Forshing. Okay, you're on deck. Okay, next question will be asked by Owens Brown. And Mr. Brown, before you begin, let me just remind you all that we'd like you to ask your questions concisely. Please do not make a speech. We need to move this along as much as we can. Thank you.
To the panel. It's a perception in the African American community that African Americans and other minorities aren't welcome in the Republican Party. How do you change that perception, and why do you think that perception persists?
Let me just start with that one. You're aware, of course, that Michael Steele is head of the Republican Party and he's black. You're aware of that?
Yeah, I'm aware of that, but that's just one person.
Well, I think that's a great start, don't you think?
It's a start, but you have to look at the whole picture. I mean, you have to look at it.
It's a hard one to work with, and so I'm going to pass it.
I'm a person that really does not like labels. We're all people, and we're all working toward the same thing, which is to have the right to raise our family and the way we would like to have our children raised, to give them the moral and ethical values that we benefited from all through our lives and that were passed down by our family. And I really don't care for being addressed as whether I am racially different or religiously different or have any kind of divides that separate. I think that doesn't do anyone any good. I would suggest that if we opened our parties to have people come in just so we could discuss platforms, that might be a way of bringing us together.
Oh, and there's a whole history that probably is wrong. I wish the Republican Party had always kept its doors open. Lee Atwater tried to use the big tent theory to make sure all people would be comfortable in the party. The party lost its way. And I want very much to see our party embrace all people, all religions, all walks of life to be part of it. But we've lost our way sometimes. And there are times, however, that we're not heard. If you go back over history to find out, it was the Republican Party that passed the Civil Rights Act. It was the Republican Party through Abraham Lincoln that freed the slaves, that dressed it. But we have not been consistent in our message. And shame on us for the way we've done that. Because this is one country, one America, and we need to all be understanding that. And so I'm sorry that this issue even comes up in a forum like this.
I think about 50% of the problem is the fact of what Emily just said, is that the party's lost its way in a lot of ways. But I think the other 50% is perpetuated myth based on encouragement on the other side of the political aisle to discourage people to get involved in the Republican Party. The Republican Party just espouses a political philosophy that is diametrically opposed to what has been encouraged within the black community, is to rely on the government for too much. And I think that if the truth were told and more black people came into the party actively as members of executive committees and things like that, they would find out that a lot of it is more perception at the local level particularly than it is reality.
Oh, it's unfortunate enough to have been part of a institution, the United States Army, for 23 years, and we got, excuse me? I think we got past that a long time ago. When you're in the foxhole, you don't care black, white, gray, pink. You really don't care. You want the job done. My son's over in Afghanistan. The issue came up about women, and the Army cheerleader who was a member of his class showed up in the same FOB, Fort Operating Base as he, and he said, God bless her. She takes the load off of me. When she goes out doing the same exact combat recon that he does, that's one less mission he has to go out on. So we're long past that. I think the issue here is not that the Republican Party has held anybody out. I really think it is, if you are willing to come to the conservative, less government, less taxes, more personal responsibility, well, come aboard. And so I personally, back at the time, was endorsing Colin Powell to run for president. Since that time, he's changed a little bit. I'm not sure I'd do that endorsement now.
Thank you, candidates. Mr. Fortune will ask the next question on deck. George Jones.
I'm directing mine to the whole panel out there. I'm also going to inform the audience because President Barack Obama has assembled a bipartisan panel that for the ills of Social Security. And a lot of people haven't known this, and the mass media is not putting it forward either. The one that's directing it is Senator Alan Simpson. And the things that he has come up with is the means test for Social Security, and also to divide people 60 years old and older. It won't affect them. They'll get their normal Social Security. Those below 60, the age will be raised. 70 for early, 73 for full Social Security if you qualify. Now, as we all know, the Social Security Trust Fund is a trust fund and was not supposed to be used for anything except for Social Security purposes, and we know this has been looted. We talk about Bernie Madoff and how he has scammed the American.
Are you going to get to the question anytime soon?
Yes. What are your feelings on this candidate?